Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Talk4 X, something new, a fast-paced current news reporting wing of the Talk4 podcast where I, Louis Scupian, interview unique and interesting people and just talk about all the current stuff that's happening around the world. Let's get up to speed. So then, just now, the USA has officially approved F16 fighter jets to be sent to Ukraine and will also be training the pilots, just confirmed. Now, joining us today to talk about this is a complete legend with the F16, call sign Rain, John Waters here, who was the F16 demo pilot in the US. He knows this jet better than anyone inside and out, absolutely, and what the Viper is capable of. So, also, he was a guest on Talk 4 before as well, episode, what was it, 67. So feel free to check that out for a very interesting chat. But yeah, let's get up to speed. John, just give us a quick rundown, just how you've been since we last spoke and what you've been up to.
Hey, thanks for having me back on. It's an honor to be here. It's been busy, busy family life with summertime. It's always good with things throttling back a little bit, being able to enjoy some family vacation, hanging around the warm weather. Although in the south and in Georgia, it gets pretty hot. So it's been good. It's been busy, and as we try to link up together, I think this is a testament of just ping ponging around the world with my other job, staying busy.
Literally, I mean, let's put it this way. John's just came off of a 9-hour flight and he's literally got off the plane. It's come to the hotel and he's straight on here. So literally like the CEO of juggling and spinning plates and stuff. So really appreciate it. But yeah, let's dig into the story then. So very interesting stuff that's happening, really significant, I think. So would you say that the approval of this is going to be a game changer in the war? And how powerful would you say the Viper actually is in this setting?
It's very complex and very dynamic. Now, first and foremost, I'm not in the forefront of this decision-making process, right? I know there's a lot of smart people that are heavily involved in it. My personal take is you're doing something to support the Ukrainian Air Force. Obviously, a lot of their equipment has been destroyed. We're spending a lot of money. We're giving a lot of resources to help them fight and defend their nation. The problem becomes with any aircraft and is just the implementation, the execution of employing that aircraft. The F-16 is a very capable fighter. I think it's probably one of the most proliferated fighter jets across the world. It's very versatile in all the different roles from air to air, air to ground, et cetera, that it can accomplish, weaponry. It is a very robust and capable aircraft. That said, in order to get to a skill level where you're able to have to go out there and employ and fight and win in the F-16, it takes time. We spend typically about 9 months training new wingmen. If someone is transitioning, let's say from an F-15 to an F-16, maybe in this case, an example or parallel would be going from a MiG-29 to an F-16. There is still a learning curve. You take that airmanship and you are jumping into a new plane. So it's not necessarily starting from zero, but you are going from a Soviet Russian built aircraft design and concept and implementation to an American made aircraft. And also it is a new aircraft. It's not like you're just able to jump in there and start going. So like I said, we spend 9 months training a new wingman. If you're coming from another platform, it might be 3 to 4 months. And when you leave flying F-16, even if you're an experienced pilot coming from another platform, you're still a wingman. Now you'll progress through the upgrades fairly quickly, but it still takes time. It takes reps going out there and learning the intricacies of the platform, learning what it is capable of. And that's just flying it. When we're talking about flying and employing it in large formations and really where a lot of its strengths are coming about these days and modern times, you're flying in formation and you're employing with multiple other aircraft using a lot of different sensors and a lot of different weaponry. And it takes time to get good. So this is a roundabout way of saying, we can give them F-16s and we can give them training, but this is not just an off the shelf, hand them a new weapon and they're able to go out there and employ. I think people see, hey, you give them a shoulder fired rocket launcher and you're able to take out helicopters. Like that's something that you can train a soldier in a matter of a couple of hours, right? It's pretty not, I've never shot one, but from what I see is pull it out of the case, put a rocket in it, open up the sights, arm it, shoot it, and you're off to the races. F-16 is not going to be that way. So I think supporting the Ukrainians, that's just one effort that obviously our nation has decided to go about, one way of doing it, but it's not going to be an easy thing to go out there and employ and be efficient. And also the environment is challenging, right?
Very
Here's the
true.
thing, you got training, You got a dynamic environment with double-digit surface-to-air missile systems. You have modern fighters that are flying across the line with they're going to be battling and they have been battling. And then the logistics and maintenance component of it. This is another thing that I'm sure people are thinking about as we go out there and say, yes, we're going to give them F-16s. But I always said, and the number is probably somewhere in this. In the U.S., there's probably about 700 airmen standing behind an F-16 pilot that gets in the cockpit, from the people guarding the gate to the engine troops, the avionics troops, air traffic controllers, people taking care of the runway. All these people having to do their jobs to make that plane fly. So let's assume they got most of the infrastructure piece knocked out. Now the maintenance aspect of it, training maintainers how to fix, maintain, and just keep this plane flying is not something, again, that just happens overnight. And then you need the parts, right? The parts to be able to fix the planes. So where are they getting F-16s? I don't know what the answer is. I've heard rumors that it'll come from other foreign nations, that maybe they'll get a new Block 70 F-16, or they'll get the F-35. But if we take that too, you're taking F-16s from various nations. All those F-16s are somewhat different and unique. It might be a Block 10, it might be a Block 15, it might be a Block 25. The upfront controls. So there's all these little differences that pop up. So it's not just a black and white answer.
Sure thing. There's a lot of moving parts here, definitely. And obviously you mentioned there that it's kind of a 9 months training period, but the difference here as well is that obviously you've got the language barrier and training for the language stuff, which might affect that time frame too. So I think the question everyone really wants to know is, obviously it's a nice title to know that you're getting these very, very good jets, but how long do you think it's actually going to take for the Ukrainians to, employ this into their system over there?
That's something that is purely a speculation and guess, if I was to say. But, in theory, you could get this jet and in a couple of flights be ready to, how to take off and land in some of the very basics. But to be at the level of operating in a combat zone, that's an entirely different story. So I think it depends upon, one, the quality of training, the frequency of training, where they're able to train. If you're training in a combat zone, I mean, it's trial by fire, literally, but you're hitting the nearest alligator to the boat each and every time. You're not able to really worry and step back and see all the threats that might exist. If you're worrying about an air-to-air threat and that's the only thing you've been exposed to, you haven't had time to absorb and figure out how to react and how to handle air-to-ground threats. And that's the environment they're operating in. They're operating in a contested environment, both air-to-ground and air-to-air. So the short answer is, a perfect world, I mean, you can teach a monkey to fly an F-16 in a matter of a couple of days, probably, just to get it airborne. It's an easy plane to fly, in my opinion. Employing the plane is where the complexity comes in.
Yeah, understood there. And you kind of touched on it already then. So, obviously the F-16 is, it's fairly old, but how effective in capability is the F-16 in present day warfare, and how will it fess up to the jets Russia is using, for example, mainly the Su-35?
So I think the F-16 is very capable. This environment is changing, right? Russia has 5th generation fighters. They have double-digit surface-to-air missile systems, which present challenges. That said, what the battlescape looks like and how they're employing them, it doesn't appear, from what I've seen in the open source media, that you're seeing a lot of these systems that are employed frequently. Those double-digit SAM systems do present significant challenges to 4th generation fighters such as F-16. That said, going out there and fighting a Su-35, I mean, I always joke, that is a very capable platform, training to it, and it can reach out and touch you. It is a big tennis court out there, so hopefully with an F-16 radar, you'll be able to see it and shoot it. But again, I back to is like, there is a whole logistic supply chain that goes in here. Like, what kind of missiles are they going to have? Are they going to have AMRAAMs, or are they going to be stuck with IR, AIM-9 type missiles only? That definitely changes the conversation. If Russia has radar guided missiles, which they have said they do, and that's what their Su-35s are equipped with, when we send some F-16s out with AIM-9s, the problem set is going to be very difficult to come out ahead, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. Right. So last question then. Where do you think the biggest application of the F-16 is going to be then in this war? And will it have air-to-air relevance, or is it more tailored towards support roles and ground attack, do you think?
It depends on, again, what the training looks like, what the configurations look like, meaning what type of weaponry that is supported and given to Ukraine that the F-16 can employ. Because again, the F-16 can handle its own in many conflicts, air to air, air to ground. It is very capable of doing that. However, again, depending on the limitations and the capabilities of the weapons and the training of the pilots that are flying this, that changes the answer, right? If we are limiting them as far as what type of air-to-air missiles they're getting, they might be outgunned and have no chance whatsoever, or they might have a fighting chance if they're getting AMRAAMs and things of that nature to be applicable and survivable in an air-to-air environment while still doing an air-to-ground mission as well. I don't think, the F-16 is, again, very versatile. So not uncommon to go out and any one of our partner nations, a US F16, et cetera, and you're going out doing an air-to-ground type mission, doing a close air support type mission, but you're also armed and ready to quickly switch into an air-to-air mode as well. So again, it can do both of them. There is a lot of, again, kind of training and experience that goes into be able to doing that well, but being able to flip-flop back and forth between handling some type of air threat and then supporting guys and gals on the ground is it's in the wheelhouse of the F-16.
Great points. Last little thing, just it's not on the list or anything, but just trivia question then. So little nugget for the F-16 future pilots in Ukraine. How fun is this thing to fly?
So the F-16, I mean, you're strapping on a rocket, wearing it like a backpack. Now you start throwing a bunch of fuel tanks and pods and weapons on it. It does get a little bit more sluggish, but you wear the F-16. So from a fighter pilot perspective, there is nothing better than literally you're strapping the jet on to you. Again, it's a fun plane to fly. I think it is an easy plane to fly. The challenges become being a good tactician and knowing how to employ the F-16.
Thank you very much, John. Absolutely perfect. Thank you for your insight and time. Please feel free to promote any of your social media stuff and podcasts if we want to learn more.
Yeah, well, I am the host of the Afterburn podcast. You can search the afterburnpodcast.com. It's on every streaming platform as well as over on YouTube, where, again, I'm doing these videos, and it has some F-16 videos too for those who want to jump back in history with me.
Yeah, they're absolutely brilliant. Literally, I do. I have to say, a bit of a fan. I do go and watch them from time to time on the big screen. It's always a absolute thriller. I keep watching the San Francisco one. It just gives you a real insight into how powerful this thing is and just how cool it is. And also credit to the pilot, John here. Absolute pleasure to have had you on today, mate. And great to have seen you again. Thanks for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me back on.
No worries at all. And hopefully we'll see you again in future as this situation evolves. But yeah, thanks guys for listening. Feel free to check out my full-length podcast with John and make sure to subscribe for all interesting topics and talks with epic people. Signing off for now. See you later.